Hello, everyone. Welcome to this general reading. We're going to do something very fun today, which is that we're going to use my new Lilifer Tarot to get the messages for February. Yeah, it's already February. Jesus. Well, not as I'm filming this, but almost. So yeah, I just bought this deck from a friend of mine. And we're going to work with it. It's still a little bit new to me, but you can see the imagery is very lush. One of the favorite cards, let me just show you, is the High Priestess. I just usually this type of I don't want to say abstract because it's not really abstract, but this type of art is not really my thing usually, but this deck resonates so much with me, partly also because the back is just beautiful, and I think you can see that the um, gold is like sparkling and glitzing doing its thing, and I just love that. All right, so I'm gonna shuffle the cards. As I'm doing this, you can also shuffle your cards if you want to draw alongside me, so you can get like a little bit more personalized reading. What I'm going to do is I will draw 3 cards, the benevolent energies this month, then what to avoid, or the energies that are maybe not so conducive for us, and also the general advice card, the general vibe for the month. So I'm going to shuffle and then I'll be back. All right, I'm back. I drew all of the cards. Let me show them to you quickly. So the first one, the beneficial energy, is the Emperor. I can't tell if that is sharp for you, but I think it is. Then we have as the energy to look out for the Seven of Swords. And then as the general energy, we have the 10 of Cups. And there was a jumper as well. And I'm seeing that kind of in addition to the general energy, which is the 3 of Swords. Okay, so let's get into this. The first thing that I'm noticing, or you can think about what was the first thing you noticed, but there's a lot of blue. Every single card is very dominated by blue figures, which is interesting because blue is usually about calm, it's about centeredness, something that you wouldn't associate the Emperor with necessarily. Of course, he has other aspects as well, the red snake, and the red antlers, and also some yellow flames. So there's more to it than just the blue, but the blue is a very deciding color here, which gives me a little bit of a subdued vibe for February, a little bit of a, let's say, calmer month. And with the Emperor in the position of the positive energy, I feel like this is about, you can maybe see there's I am written on his chest where his heart is. Oh, that's not actually where his heart is, it's on the right side. Anatomy. But, anyways, and oftentimes in our society and the way it is with capitalism, success, having to be the best, being on top of everything, having everything under control, we often associate the Emperor with that. And with this idea of building an empire, also the sun is literally shining in my face. It's end of January in Berlin. Can you believe it? There's usually no sun, which is why I sat in front of the window to record this. But apparently today there is sun. So the Emperor is also this idea of personal sovereignty. It's not just about, dominating others or having a huge ego and building an empire, bringing your will onto other people. That's all things that are associated with the Emperor. So often, people say, oh, you're building a business if you draw this card, etc., which is certainly possible. But I think in this case, this emperor seems a bit more soft to me. He's also like hushing us. Sorry, I just hit the microphone. He's, shushing us. How do you say that in English? Shushing and hushing. So I think in this case, it's more about personal power over your own actions, over your thoughts, over your decisions. What do I mean by that? I mean by that in February we have the chance, because of how the energy is, to find ourselves in a new way that is not about what do we represent in the world, how do we influence others, how do we get others to like us, how do we interact with others, but it's a very personal sense of authenticity and of sovereignty that I see here. We will connect that back to community as well in the last card, but for now, that's the energy, the vibe I'm getting. So if you drew tarot cards yourself along with this, the card that you drew in the benevolent energy might point you towards how you can take steps towards this more authentic expression of yourself. This authentic expression of yourself that is not concerned with what do others think of me, how do I give the best impression on others, but more who am I and what energy do I bring into the world? What energy do I want to bring into the world? So often we get stuck in certain situations with people where we try to be someone else, whether that's at work, with family, with friends. We try to be something for the collective. And the Emperor is reminding us, be someone for yourself, be whoever the hell you want to be as you are. If you decide you want to bring positive energy, but you live in a very negative, let's say, work environment, for example, you can still be positive. I know as humans, we have this tendency, if everyone is complaining around us, we start complaining as well. But that's not in alignment with what we're actually feeling or what we want to feel. And the Emperor is reminding us we are sovereign over those thoughts, over those catastrophizing scenarios we might have in our mind. We can control those and we can work with those and bring whatever vibe we want to bring, you know, instead of trying to adapt to the vibe that is outside of us. Of course, as I'm saying this, it sounds a little bit like toxic positivity, like, oh, everyone around me is complaining, but I'm just fine. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say really tune into with what you want to bring into the world, because there is so much shit going on, so much of the world is being stripped of their personal sovereignty in a lot of ways, whether that is through politics or just through the influence of others that try to make decisions for us. There's a lot of that collectively going on right now, and the Emperor is reminding us you can find your own path through that. You don't have to adapt the opinions, the thoughts, anything else from other people. So know which thoughts and which worries are yours and which ones belong to someone else. And how do you handle that? As the second card, that's a perfect how do you say that? Perfect cue, transition, I guess, a perfect transition to the second card, which is the Seven of Swords. Here we have quite a broken, sad figure. It's a little bit different from the Seven of Swords that we know from the Rider-Waite-Smith, where you have this idea of this person being better off and stealing the swords. That's not really the case here. It's more like the person is being followed by swords representing opinions, thoughts, words that might hurt this person. So I feel like this is a call kind of in combination with the Emperor to really, as I said, identify what is yours and what is not yours. Because in this world where we are on our phones all the time, where we watch YouTube videos, Instagram videos, Patreon videos like this one all the time, we might not even be able to grasp our own opinions, thoughts, wishes anymore, because so much of that rains down on us. And that's what we see here. The swords are literally raining down on this person. So think about, what is your opinion, what are your thoughts, and what is coming from the outside trying to influence you. That's what this card is pointing us to. And now I want to come to the last cards, which these are the general vibe for the month, but I'm feeling that this is more the second half. I'm feeling that this is more the first half, the whole who are you, what is yours, what is not yours. Because with the 10 of Cups, we have an idea of community, of exchanging ideas, of sharing emotions coming in. And I feel like that's something that is most healthy and most possible when we are able to know who we are and to know what is ours and what is not. Because then we can authentically start sharing our emotions. We share our emotions and we are vulnerable from a place of standing firmly within ourselves rather than being tossed and turned around by everything outside of ourselves. So, Seven of Swords might also point to a little bit of a break from social media or from anything or from any people that influence you negatively, where whenever you interact with them, you feel like you lost a little piece of yourself. Do you know that feeling? I have that when I scroll senselessly on Reels as well, but also with some people I meet afterwards, I'm like, what just happened? Who am I? Because the person might be overwhelming for you or any other reason. So reflecting on that is important. And then feeling that, knowing yourself, that's what the Three of Swords is about for me. It's deep self-knowledge and deep acceptance of your own emotions. Because even though it is a swords card, it is about emotions as well, because we have the rain in the Rider-Waite, we have the heart being displayed here. So emotions are central to the Three of Swords, and especially blocked emotions, emotions that we try to rationalize away, emotions that we tell ourselves, I don't want to be thinking about that, or that's not a logical thing to think about. I just want to push it away. And the Three of Swords is calling us to make room for those emotions and to integrate them in that picture, in that authenticity that we have ourselves, of ourselves. And then with the 10 of Cups, we have the step of taking that outside of yourself. I can say for myself right now, I am in a very big shift of how I perceive myself and how I want to bring that perception of me into the outside world. And I think these cards are just a perfect representation of that. Maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you also have this feeling that you're kind of becoming a new person. Maybe you're becoming more vulnerable. Maybe you are more able to share your feelings, share your thoughts with other people, share your opinions with other people. Because especially in the time that we're in, and I love that, so many people are talking about the fact that we cannot be unpolitical anymore. And these cards are really a reminder to not hide those opinions, those thoughts, those fears that you have, and to find community, to find other people who think like you, or to talk to people who don't think like you and explain your perspective, listen to their perspective, because that's the way that we find community and that we connect to other people truly, instead of just being on our phones all the time, reflecting on how terrible the world is, or reflecting on how we can't make a change. We can, but we can mostly change things locally in communication, in talking to whether that's our neighbors, the people who live close to us, our families, our friends. All of that can make a difference, but we need to give those people access to our thoughts and access to our emotions, even though it sounds scary. It sounds scary to tell someone what party you're voting for. I live in Germany, so in February, we have the elections coming up. I know in America that ship has sailed. It has sailed. The elections are done. Um, so it's a little bit of a different vibe in America, obviously, but still, when the worst happens, we have to be there for each other, and that requires vulnerability. Nobody wants that. Everyone wants to be like, no, I'm not going to get political on the internet. I'm not going to get political with my friends. I'm not going to get political on my private Instagram account or on my WhatsApp. But honestly, we cannot afford that anymore, because that is what has gotten us into this whole mess of people voting for right-wing parties and being loud and proud about it. Being very loud and proud about it. And what about everyone else? Like, nobody else wants to talk about what they're voting for, so it seems like everybody is voting right wing, and a lot of people might get the impression that that's the right way to go. I'm speaking very specifically about Germany here. I know in America it's a little bit different, but I think Trump supporters are also the most vocal, the most out there, and I think it's really important to stand up as well and use your voice as well to give a counterpoint to that. It's scary. It's fucking scary. You might lose people, but that's just life. It's life in a community. It's life in a way where we connect with each other rather than separating ourselves more and more, just being on our phones, just talking about useless things, just talking about things that have no meaning with our friends, with our family, because we want to avoid those hard topics. But those hard topics are following us. That's the Seven of Swords. Those topics don't go away. Once they take away our freedoms or um, our ability to make our own decisions, our sovereignty, that's when we realize that we cannot escape them. But before that, we try everything to escape them. We try everything to not talk about things and to not talk about politics or whatever. But it is important. It's important because it gives us the ability to connect to people in a new way. And I think February is the perfect time for that. Community, connection, but from a place of knowing what is yours, what are your values, your opinions, your thoughts. That's it. I got very intense there at the end. But yeah, that's the cards. Let me show them to you again so you can again look at them and enjoy them. So this is the beneficial energy, the Emperor telling us to live in our sovereignty, to know what is ours. The Seven of Swords also showing us that things follow us even if we try to ignore them. And we can't just run away from it. And then we have the 10 of Cups and the 3 of Swords, the vulnerability that creates community and creates closeness and intimacy with other people. I wish we didn't have to be vulnerable in order to be intimate with other people, but we do. So take a leap,